He's good, so good, so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's good. Can I get some help out there? Somebody tell me how good your God is. Oh my goodness. Don't let me have to tell you. Why can't you say something about your God? That's right. Have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. I'm your host, Nikki V. And we thank you for tuning into the broadcast. You are tuned into Guts, Gospel United to Save, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. Thanks, Jason Nelson. And the song called God is Good. That's why I tell you, He is good, okay? So we want to give God the glory, the praise, and the honor because it does belong to Him. We're back with a little bit more. And we told you when we came back we were going to talk about the guidelines for selecting the right people, because if you've got to discern and develop a plan for people, then you really do need to know what's going on. You need to be aware of how it operates, or what's happening, or the way we operate, or however you want to look at it. So you have to come up with a plan to figure out who are the 20% of potential leaders that you need to invest 80% of your time in. So let's look at that. Here are some guidelines for selecting those particular people that need to be given the most time investment. One is select people whose philosophy of life is similar to yours. You need to select the ones whose lifestyle is similar to yours. Okay, that's what you want to try to do. It will be difficult to develop someone whose values are too different from yours. This is why we say this. Not that you can't have people on your leadership team whose opinion or values or philosophy differs from yours. You can, as a matter of fact, you should. But if you're going to invest time mentoring or disciplining or discipling someone, you ought to try to pick in that 20% that you're investing 80% of your time with people who already have the same value you do. Kind of, first of all, cuts some of the time down because you're not constantly arguing about what way is the right way to do things, and you're not constantly trying to figure out how to get past the ideological differences to get to the meat of what's going on, because we don't have those. So that's why it's important to select people whose philosophy of life is similar to yours when we're talking about mentoring or developing the 20%, or that top 20%. Okay? So that's where we're coming from with that. You ought to choose people with potential you genuinely believe in. Makes it a lot easier if you really do believe that they can do. If you just trying to hope and wish they can, your investment may prove to be faulty, and not only that, it may prove to be a difficult task to do, difficult chore. If you don't believe in them, you won't give them the time that they need, because you'll be like, it's probably more anyway. And they will discern your lack of confidence in them. Belief in their potential, on the other hand, will empower them. Some of the nation's greatest professional athletes have come from tiny colleges that receive no publicity, but they do have the support of the fact that there are coaches that believe in them. All those ball players needed was for pro scouts to recognize the potential that the right opportunity could bring out. The secret of mentoring in any field is to help a person get where he or she is willing to go. The next thing is to determine what they need. Determining what potential leaders need involves looking at their strengths and weaknesses objectively. Their strengths indicate the direction they need to go, what they can become. Their weaknesses show us what we need to help them improve upon. Encouraging them in their strength and helping them to overcome their weaknesses will move them closer to reaching their potential, or their 100%. Okay? So you have to evaluate their progress constantly. Not just every now and then, not just every once in a while, not just every blue moon. But you need to really kind of come to a place where you are evaluating and saying, yes, your progress is going the way it should be. You're on the right track. You're moving the way you ought to be, so that people don't get off course. People need feedback, especially early in their development. Ben Franklin said, the eye of the master will do more work than both his hands. He knew that a leader's ability to evaluate was his greatest strength. An honest mentor will be objective if necessary. He or she will encourage the person to stay on course, to seek another direction, or even to enter into a relationship with another mentor. Because sometimes you just can't be the one to do it. You want to, you try to, but there are things that we looked at that do not line up. So you have to be able to say, you know what? Putting 80% into you will not get you to where you need to go. So why not give you someone who can put 80% into you and get you where you need to go? The development of the person who's your potential leader ought to be more important than your own pride, than whether or not you can actually mentor them. You shouldn't fall apart if you're not capable of doing it, or if you're not suitable for doing it, because some people are just not suitable. You just can't go, you don't go together, you don't work together. You aren't the one that's going to bring the best out of them. Be committed, serious, and available to the people you mentor. The development of potential leaders will be a reflection of your commitment to them. Poor commitment equals poor development. Great commitment equals great development. Now, Danny Thomas said, all of us are born for a reason, but all of us don't discover why. Success in life has nothing to do with what you gain in life or accomplish for yourself. It's what you do for others. My key point. It's what you do for others. Now, by personalizing each person's journey, you are helping them to maximize their potential. You are giving them a chance to discover their purpose. You also maximize their contribution to you and your organization. Most people agree that nurturing is important to the development of children. Now, in that most people agree that, they often fail to see the importance in the workplace. They assume that potential leaders will nurture themselves. After all, they're mature, grown folks, aren't they? Hello. If we as leaders do not nurture the potential leaders around us, they will never develop into the types of leaders we desire. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, it's one of the most beautiful compensations of this life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself. When you nurture the people around you, everyone wins. Everyone. And that's a great thing to know. It's good to know that we can do something that will make a difference in the lives of so many people. And also, in doing so, make a difference in our own life. Think about it. When you are developing other people and making them better and causing them to be able to take your place, you're also developing an opportunity for you to be able to have a vacation, to be able to get rest, to be able to, hello, somebody don't hear me out there, because you want to be burnt out, right? You want to be stressed to the max, right? You understand that developing leaders around you not only helps to make and perfect other folks, but it also helps to make and perfect you. We all win when this is done. No one loses in this case. It's a win-win for everyone. You are tuned into Guts Gospel United Save, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. I'm your host, Nikki V, and we do thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast, and we hope that you will continue to tune in Monday and Thursdays at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we thank God for all of you who are taking the time to be with us. And real quick, do a little entertainment news. The news you can use that might find interesting, maybe you will as well. And that's about the Hunger Games catching fire. Scorches with $161.1 million opening. Yes, moviegoers satiated their appetite for the Hunger Games franchise by making the sequel Catching Fire one of the year's biggest hits. The Hunger Games Catching Fire opened with $161.1 million at the domestic weekend box office, according to studio estimates Sunday. It became the biggest November debut ever, as well as Lionsgate's most lucrative opening. The result fell short of some expectations and failed to dethrone the year's biggest box office opening, Iron Man 3, with $174 million, but the film opened massively worldwide, making a total of $307.7 million. The marketplace largely ceded the weekend to Catching Fire. The only other new wide release was Disney's Vince Vaughn's comedy Delivery Man, which sputtered it to an $8.2 million opening. The box office performance for Catching Fire establishes Hunger Games starring Jennifer Lawrence as the Archer heroine of Suzanne Collins' young adult series as among the elite franchises in movies. The budget nearly doubled from the original, and Francis Lawrence took over directing duties from Gary Ross. Catching Fire received better reviews and drew a broader audience. When the first film was released, there was this idea that it was going to appeal largely to young girls, said Paul Derbigadian, senior media analyst for box office tracker Rentrack. But over time, it's skewing back toward male audiences. There's actually a lot of action. There's violence in the movie. It's crossing over to a much broader base. The domestic opening for Catching Fire is the fourth best ever, following The Avengers with $207 million, Iron Man 3, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 at $169 million. No matter what the economy is doing, box office seems to still be doing very well. We thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast. I'm Nikki V, and we're going to leave you with King of Glory right here on Guts Gospel United Save as we transition. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Nikki V, hoping you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. The King, He is the King.
Facing foreclosure? Don't pay for a loan modification, or you may get scammed. Visit loanscamalert.org or call 1-888-995-HOPE to get free help from a HUD-approved counseling agency or to report it.
It's so bad sometimes that you can't sleep at night. But a small voice in your ear is saying everything'll be alright. I'm tired of people close to me hurt me. I'm a friend, let it be. I got to let it be. I'm tired of people close to me hurt me. I'm a friend, let it be. Things got so bad for me, I thought about giving up. There's depression, worry, and death, and even in the music industry. But I never forgot for the old man simply said to me, hey, look, you stop to think, you think to stop. Man, I'm back up on my feet. Oh yeah, tired of people close to me. I'm so tired, I'm afraid to let it be. I think I better let it be. I'm tired of people close to me. Yeah, I'm afraid to let it be. Listen, I learned how to dress up and look good and walk around with a smile. I hold back the tears from coming out of my way. Pay their bills and invite them to your house. But as soon as you don't do what they want you to do, they start running their mouth. Just let it be, let it be. Things happened 20 years ago. Let it be. Things happened southern Illinois. Things that happened on the street. Things that happened on your job. Things that happened with your friendship. Things that happened with your family. What you got to do is put it behind you. Oh, yeah.
I'ma pray and let it be. That's right. Tired of people close to me hurting me. So I'm gonna pray and let it be. You are tuned in to Guts, Gospel United to Say, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. I'm your host, Nikki V, and we thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast and being a part of what God is doing right here and right now. It is a beautiful time, and we thank God for you all who are tuned in. I got people on Facebook, and we're talking about giving stuff out and getting stuff given to us, and so we thank God for that. We are grateful, and we are happy to be able to talk to you and share with you in regards to that. We look forward to being able to do great and mighty things because the power of God is working in the lives of His people to make a difference. And so we thank God for you and you and you who are sharing and who are doing great things. And we will be talking to you about things that are going on in the community and sharing with you about some things that are happening. And we are absolutely grateful for having an opportunity for that. And we are grateful for you all who are tuned in. You are tuned in to Guts, Gospel United to Say, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view. Hoping you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. And we thank God for being with you all. We're here Monday, and we're here Thursday at 6 a.m. And we are Eastern Standard Time, and on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we thank God for that. We thank God for all of you who are definitely working with us and helping us out to make a difference in the lives of those who are doing great things. And we are grateful for those who will continue to support and help us to be able to do great things all around the world. And we thank God for you and you who are really moving in the way of giving and being a giver and showing love and expressing love to so many people around the world. Getting back to our broadcasting, we want to kind of get back to some of the things that we were talking about and sharing some of the things that we were sharing about. And we are moving on in our series, and there's a daily requirement for leaders who want to develop leaders around them. And that is the equipping of potential leaders. It's a daily requirement. You can't let a day go by without equipping the people who you have under you to do the task that they have to do. When you fail to do that, you also cause the possibility of them not being able to effectively do their job. Be it in the workplace, be it in ministry, wherever it is, when you do not equip potential leaders daily, you have kind of crippled them. You have kind of put them in a position where they're not able to fulfill completely the task that is at hand. So, at this point, you know how to identify potential leaders, how to create a climate in which they can be nurtured, and how to nurture them in some basic ways. It's time to look more specifically at how to prepare them for leadership within the organization. That preparation process is called equipping. That's the preparation process, and it is known as equipping. This is how we transfer, translate, transcend, set up, however you want to call it, people to be able to do what they do. And we want to continue to do that. We want to continue to equip. We want to continue to nurture. We want to continue to train. We want to continue to facilitate the growth and development of potential leaders. Now, this is great in a business organization, but it's even more essential in ministry. Now, we don't think of it that way, but it is more essential in ministry. Equipping is similar to training, but Equipping is a better term because it more accurately describes the process a potential leaders must go through. Training is generally focused on specific job tasks. For instance, you train a person to use a copy machine or to answer a phone in a particular way. Training is only part of the equipping process that prepares a person for leadership. Now, when I'm thinking about equipping a potential leader, I'm thinking about preparing an unskilled person to scale a tall mountain. His preparation is a process. Now, certainly, they need to be outfitted with equipment such as cold weather clothing, ropes, picks, spikes. They also need to be trained on how to use that equipment. A mountain climber's preparation, though, involves much more than simply having the correct equipment and knowing how to use it. The person must be conditioned physically to prepare for the difficult climb. They must be trained to be part of a team. Most important, they must be taught to think like a mountain climber. They need to be able to look at a peak and see how it is to be conquered. Without going through the complete equipping process, they not only won't make it to the top of the mountain, but they will find themselves stranded on the side of the mountain, freezing to death. Equipping is an ongoing process. Equipping, like nurturing, is an ongoing process. You don't equip a person in a few hours or a day, and it can't be done using a formula or a videotape. Equipping must be tailored to each potential leader. The ideal equipper is a person who can impart the vision of the work, evaluate the potential leader, give them the tools that they need, and then help them along the way at the beginning of their journey. The equipper is a model, a leader who does the job, does it well, does it right, and does it consistently. The equipper is a mentor, an advisor who has the vision of the organization and communicate it to others. He or she has the experience to draw upon. The equipper is an empowerer, one who can instill in the potential leader the desire and the ability to do the work. He or she is able to lead, teach, and assess the equipped. To see how your discernment skills measure up, let's begin to examine some things of a potential leader's characteristics. And it's adapted from author and leadership consultant Bob Beal. Again, I want to remind you, equipping must be tailored to each potential leader. It must be tailored to each potential leader. Now, equipping begins with asking questions. We ask them to determine the direction of our equipping efforts. If we don't, we may find ourselves teaching the wrong person the wrong things for the wrong purpose. We should begin the process with the analysis of the organization itself. Then, who we are as leaders, the potential leader, and get the information we need by asking 3 sets of questions. Now, a question about the organization. These questions will determine what equipping needs to be done and the direction it should take to best serve an organization. What is the statement of purpose for the organization? First question about the organization, in order to develop a needs analysis for how to equip the person that you are endeavoring to develop. The development of a leader in an organization must begin with a review of the organization's purpose. Presumably, the purpose of your organization is already in writing. If it's not, you really should have it written down. Really you should. Or ask someone in authority to provide you with a statement of purpose. Don't even consider performing equipping or training that does not contribute to the fulfillment of the organization's purpose. It would be kind of unnecessary, mute, and catastrophic. What is the primary need of the organization? If you know what the organization needs most in order to fulfill its purpose, then you know its primary equipping need. Defining that need as specifically as possible is helpful. Is there a training program in place to meet that need? Now, if there isn't, you already know where to start off. If there is, then use the ideas in that training and take some of the stuff that I'm getting ready to tell you to help improve the program. What areas within the organization have the greatest growth potential? When you train and equip to prepare for growth, You play to your strengths. You are being proactive rather than reactive. You are putting yourself in a position to meet the future totally prepared. Another question about the organization. Do those potential growth areas have the needed leaders to accomplish the task? So we're talking about all the things that may be needed and understanding where we are so that we can do what we need to do. Without leaders ready to make things happen, the area of growth potential will never move from potential to reality. It'll always be something to talk about, not something to do. If the leaders don't already exist, they will have to be equipped and developed, and then we can move forward. Don't try to move forward without leaders. Move forward with them. It makes all the difference in the world. You're tuning in to Guts, Gospel United States. Variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. I'm your host, Nikki V. Alvin Darling is going to help us transition out with a song called Live Out Loud right here on Guts, Gospel United States. A variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. I'm your host, Nikki V. And we are so grateful for all of the help and all of the assistance that we're receiving from so many of you across the world. Thank you again for supporting us, for encouraging us, and for doing what you do to make it possible to do what we do. I'm Nikki V, hoping you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. The number to call, 877-217-5375. Toll free in the continental United States. That's 877-217-5375. Option number 2 will get you to the broadcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Nikki V, hoping you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. Alvin Darling, live out loud.